we shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. The church service concluded a few minutes past 1 a.m. It was the dawn of January 1, 2016, and while customary wishes of felicity filled the air, Jane's eyes drooped with the heaviness of a sleepy baby as she walked out of the church. Her usually cheerful spirit, known for its nice greetings and laughter, could scarcely summon the enthusiasm to wish her fellow congregants a prosperous new year. She was so tired from the stress she went through the day before and was utterly fatigued. As the only child of her parents, she had done all the chores with little help, preparing their home for the arrival of guests who would soon partake in the merriment of the New Year's festivities. She had worked ceaselessly the day before to make sure that every corner of their home exuded an air of enchantment and hospitality. After the New Year's service, exhaustion crept upon her. Her body, weary from the relentless effort, yearned for rest. As she left the church tired, with her steps measured and her gaze cast downward, in that moment, her desires revolved solely around the prospect of finding solace and sleeping on a soft bed. She made her way toward the designated location where her father typically parked his car in the parking lot. She was surprised the car was not in the usual spot, but she was too tired to think. She entered the back seat of the car to get some rest. Inadvertently, she slipped into a state of slumber. A young man called David, who was also tired, entered his car and started driving home to Sydney, which was 2 hours' journey from where he currently was, which is Wollongong. The passage of time passed in a leisurely procession that seemed to go on forever, until finally, the car stopped, jarring her out of her peaceful sleep. "Dad, for how long have we been on the road?" Jane asked, rubbing her eyes still heavy with remnants of sleep. "What the fuck?" the driver screamed in shock. His heart raced with fear. "Who are you?" he asked, contemplating the unthinkable possibilities of who could have breached his car. "What?" Jane exclaimed, her own shock mirroring that of the driver. Her bewildered gaze met the eyes of the stranger before her. "You're not my..." Her voice trailed off momentarily as she struggled to comprehend the audacity of the situation. "What's going on? What are you doing with my dad's car?" she demanded, her voice rising in a mix of accusation and disbelief.
The stranger, caught off guard by Jane's assertiveness, stared back at her in astonishment. Confusion etched across his face. "I beg your pardon," he managed to stammer. "This is my car, miss?" "What?" Jane scoffed with an incredulous gaze. Her mind battled to make sense of the circumstance with growing panic. "Are you okay? How did you? What is happening?" Her questions tumbled out in rapid succession, with fear and bewilderment. As the reality of her predicament sank in, her surroundings spun before her eyes, heightening her growing sense of terror. "Where the blazes am I?" she pondered silently. The young man took a moment to collect himself. He became more composed when he recognized her as the pastor's child. Observing the disarrayed state of Jane before him, he saw that she was plainly lost. Jane reached into her bag and retrieved her phone, about to call her dad. As she took her phone, she was shocked and concerned as she glanced at her screen. The display revealed an astonishing number of missed calls, 27 in total. 16 missed calls from her worried mother, 9 from her concerned father, and 2 from an unfamiliar number, which only added to her growing unease. She also saw a series of text messages from her mom, inquiring about her whereabouts. A twinge of frustration gripped her as she realized that her phone had been set to silent mode due to the fact that she was in church, rendering her oblivious to the incoming calls and messages. She sighed in frustration. She dialed her dad's phone number with a trembling finger. The phone rang in her hand, her heart pounding as she waited anxiously for him to pick up. "Excuse me, miss. I don't know how you got into my car, and I really don't know how you're going to find your way back, because you clearly seem lost," the young man, David, said, his voice laced with polite perplexity. He had recognized her face instantly. It was easy to recognize her. After all, she was the pastor's daughter, and her dad, being the pastor of the huge congregation, Living Waters Ministry, is well known in the Wollongong community. But as he glanced at her bewildered expression, it became evident that she had no recollection of him. David's father was an elder in the church, and their families shared countless visits to Jane's abode when Jane and David were still kids. However, As the years unfolded, circumstances led David to relocate to Sydney to live with his grandmother while his dad stayed in Wollongong. Yet, his heart still gravitated towards Wollongong, especially during the joyous Christmas season, when he would return and leave after New Year's Eve. Lost. You're the one who's confused, Jane retorted.
Tangled Paths, a story by Faith Abbey. Like, comment and subscribe for more episodes.